Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of Meaningful Conversations. I'm Denise Stiegel. I'm the CEO and curator here at livinghealthylist.com. I am often the moderator, as I am today, but not always. So it's great to be here as a moderator for this really exciting and interesting conversation. We've got three amazing people on our panel who see things from a different, they're going to talk about things about aging, transition, and menopause from different perspectives. And I think that's really important for all of us because I believe we're all on a different path. We all kind of think some of the similar things happen to us, but we're all on our own path, and listening to experts who have different ideas, thought processes, and expertise is always really incredibly helpful. So the purpose of Meaningful Conversations is truly for this to be more of a conversation style. Our expert panelists will give them some time to, tell us a little bit about what they do, who they are, what the question of the day means to them. And then they'll share some tips, but then we'll open it up to the rest of the group for Q&A. And I think that truly, I think the Q&A part for me is the most fun because we never know what we're going to get question-wise. So truly, this is meant to be, safe environment. If you have a question, please ask it. If you want to type it in the chat, that's totally fine. I'll ask the question anonymously if you prefer. I can certainly do that. So our panelists today, and I'm going to give them each a couple minutes to tell you who they are and what they do. But our experts that we have today with us are Dr. Shelia Craig Whiteman, Carola Becker, who comes to us from across the pond, and LuAnn Buechler. So I'm looking, just kind of going to go through, ask each of you based on where I see you on my screen. So Dr. Shelia, if you would tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yes, hi, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to these talks all the time. I am a physical therapist. I specialized and specialize still in pelvic health, oncology, lymphedema, and also I'm a health coach. So I have transitioned some of the work that I have done in physical therapy realm to health coaching in order to reach more people. I do a lot of work with helping women reduce and eliminate bladder leaks. That is my signature program, but I'm often called to speak to women about menopause, perimenopause, and the different changes that happen physically, mentally. There's a lot of changes that happen during that time. So I've been called quite a bit to speak to women about that, and then how really to navigate those changes that can occur so that you can live still the life that you want to live. So in a nutshell, that is what I do.
I love it because we all have this life that we want to live, and when it comes to menopause and this transition, we want to make sure that we can still do what we're
in the chaos media group.
Susan got unmuted, and I don't think she knows it.
All right. So there she goes. She's muted.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Shelia. Next, I have on my board here, Ms. Carola Becker. Good to see you, Carola.
Thank you very much for having me today. I'm super excited to be here, Denise, and everybody else. Hello, I'm Carola. I'm dialing in from the United Kingdom, so it's getting dark behind me already. I'm a nutritionist and fitness instructor. I work with individuals as well as with companies, and in exactly the same way like Dr. Shelia just said, women always call me about the menopause. I'm in the middle of the menopause myself. So I know that I should do everything right. On occasion, I get it wrong as well. sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. But I help women in this particular situation, preparing their bodies for the menopause, helping them through them quicker and easier with simple science-based nutrition and lifestyle advice. The things to help your bones, help your brain, how to reduce your hot flushes, and making sure, again, I have to quote Dr. Shelia saying, you can still live the life you like. And it's all about getting the things right and making a few changes to the way you live and to the way you eat, which will make a massive difference to your health now and in the future.
Thank you. And LuAnn, LuAnn's going to bring a little bit of a different perspective here to our conversation about aging transition, because as we're transitioning our lives, there's a lot of other things, there's a lot of things that come along with that. So LuAnn, welcome.
Hi, everyone. LuAnn Buechler coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota with Denise. And my company is PMC Events and Coaching. I do personal and professional development retreats and events and business and personal coaching. And it's really around mindset. And what I have found in that I naturally attract women in the age group from 40 to 70 into my conversations, into my events. And it's about, what do I do now with the next part of my life after I become an empty nester, after I've decided it's on the verge of retirement, that kind of thing. And the society sets us up to be put out to pasture. And so it's about shifting that mindset into what am I passionate about moving forward in the next phase of my life. That life is not ending in those moments of transition, but rather it's a new beginning for what can be next. And how do I live out the moments of my life in joy and fulfillment? So my work is based in a philosophy called the Passion Test, which is not a test, but a process that I take people through to identify their top 5 passions and set a course to living that in their life. And it's really about being able to be authentic, own who you are, and step fully into being that authentic self. And we have the power to recreate ourselves anytime we want to. And those are a couple phases in life that people are thinking about that. Like, what am I going to do now, right, in this new phase of my life? So I will speak from that perspective of our mindset shift that goes along with those transitions.
Wonderful, thank you. So the question I have, and this is just kind of a general question, when it comes to, we're aging, menopause, we know this, but when it comes to this transition we have in life, what is the number one thing that you help your clients with, or that your clients come to you and really need your support and need guidance? What is that number one thing for each of you that you really feel like, if every woman knew this? So I'm going to shake it up again. So I'm going to shake it up a little bit. Carola, I'm going to start with you.
I would say for me, it's making women aware of the future health risks which are linked to the menopause, because whenever we think about the menopause, we're thinking of hot flushes, we're thinking of brain fog, we're thinking of lack of libido, all the physical things, and all the things that are affecting us right now. But I was seriously shocked when I heard for the first time that Alzheimer's is linked to the menopause, and that twice as many women are diagnosed with Alzheimer's than men. And the reason for that is simply that our brain ages differently from a man's brain. And I think that should be a wake-up call for all of us, to make sure that we do the right things and we make a few easy changes to help our bodies, because thankfully I don't live with somebody who got Alzheimer's. I have never experienced it with somebody I know, but I know for people who did, and I think this is probably the last thing we want. Mm-hmm. And there's sadly more. We're talking about diabetes, we're talking about health, heart issues and everything else. So for me it's more about the future, mm-hmm, rather than right this second, because there's loads we can do, but in both ways.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, that's really important. And we'll touch back on that in a little bit. I'm going to go back in a little bit and ask, some tips that each of the panelists may have. Dr. Shelia.
People come to me, women come to me because they're concerned about the changes in their bodies primarily. And then from that, we can go on with education as to why. But there are a lot of physical changes that are insidious because, as we know, we have perimenopause going into menopause, and it can last up to 10 years. So it's a long time where these changes are just kind of eating away. And just like with any other issue that you might have, you only notice it when it starts to bother you. So that being said, so they come to me because they are having more bladder infections, bladder leaks, less flexibility. Can't figure out why they can't even get hurt while get hurt while they're exercising. Sexual health. Right? A lot of times they have issues with vaginal dryness and also having pain with intercourse, those kind of things. So that's another one that people come to us about. And then just really trying to figure out how to get their bodies to a point where it can function well enough for them to do everything that they want to do, plus more.
Mm-hmm. Plus more. We like plus more because
Yeah,
we want to live
more.
that life that we've always lived without being held back by these challenges that we have as we get older. So thank you.
Yeah. And I wish the one thing that I do wish that women realize is that you can change what is going on with some different changes in your life, with some effort, with lifestyle changes, nutrition, etc. So I meet a lot of women who think that, oh my goodness, this is terrible. This is the way I am. And, that's the end of my life as I know it. And that's the part that I want to change, that mindset, because it really isn't. You just have to, there are some mental changes that you have to do, because you have to maybe adjust and then go on and do whatever you want to do. Just make whatever adjustment it is and do whatever you have. Don't sit down. Don't sit down.
I love it. Don't sit down.
Don't sit down.
Thank you, Dr. Shelia. So, LuAnn, Dr. Shelia mentioned mindset, and I know that's a big part of what you do. But when people come to you, what is that one main thing that they're going, all right, LuAnn, I'm here, help me?
People come to me when they're feeling a sense of loss. Of lost identity is really what it comes down to. God bless those women who throw themselves into motherhood and give their all to raise their children. Then their identity is totally wrapped around their children, and all of a sudden they're gone, and I don't know who I am anymore and how to function in the rest of the world. Oftentimes, even to the detriment that they don't have a lot of women friends around them. And so the other reason that people come into my events and my groups is for that relationship with other women who are going through the same thing they're going through. And let's all talk about it. Let's admit it. Let's throw it out there, cry about it, whatever we need to do, and then shift that mindset, So part of our work, we talk about feel the feelings, right? You got to feel them and allow those emotions to be felt, acknowledge that they exist, and then decide consciously to reframe it and to adjust. And so I help them to reframe who they are going forward. Who do I want to become now? And that, again, as I said earlier, we have the power to recreate ourselves anytime we want. We don't feel that way, though. We often feel stuck in whatever we were identified as before. Does that make sense? I was identified as a mother. Now who am I? I was identified as an administrative assistant. Now I'm retired. Who am I? in the world kind of thing. And so I help them explore that by uncovering their true passions and setting a course action plan to implementing those in their life. And I've been doing the work of the passion test for 12 years now. It's probably actually been all a part of my journey through menopause and where I am today, that tool was by my side, helping me through that. I was thrown into menopause from a hysterectomy. And so it was much younger in my life and really was not prepared for it at all and really tried to cover it up. So from a physical standpoint, I'm really looking forward to hearing from Dr. Shelia and Carola, because I don't think I really necessarily personally handled that physical portion of it all that well myself. And I just happened to come off a trip with a group of women, and we were in the Boundary Waters Canoe area of northern Minnesota, which is rugged camping, to say the least. And one of the women was just starting her menopause and, ripping off clothes all the time. Like it's 70 degrees or 65 degrees and she's taking clothes off and we're all putting them on. And so it was an interesting observation, and it made me think, here this group of women that we took into the wilderness is ages 55 to 65. And we're doing rugged camping in the wilderness. So it's really empowering to know that we still have the ability to do that, even though we've all been through different stages of our life's transitions. And that's really what that trip does for people, is sort of builds up their confidence in the strength and physical shape that they actually do have, even though it's probably way different than their 20s and 30s.
Right. And it's actually, that's exactly what Dr. Shelia just said a minute ago, like, don't sit down, keep moving, keep going. And I think, I really think it's a great thing that you do, to take women out there. I'm chicken, I'll admit that. Rugged and camping are two words that I don't typically put together. But it's certainly, I haven't ruled it out, because I know you go every year.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and I do live in Minnesota, so it's easier. So I'm going to shake this up a little bit. I'm going to open up real quick before we go and ask each of the experts for their tips. I'm just I want to open up and see if anybody has any questions for our speakers as of right now. If not, that's fine. We can go into the tips and strategies. But I do want to just make sure that everybody has their questions answered during this program. So let me check the chat. Okay, there's no questions in the chat, just lots of chat in the chat, which is always good. Okay, so then what we'll do then is I will close the chat and we will continue with kind of those tips and strategies. So, okay, so I am a woman, so I'm going to use myself an example. I always use myself an example because I know me better than anyone. So I started, when I was 37, I started with hot flashes, but nobody explained to me what it was. My doctor actually said, oh, it's just a phase, you'll be fine. Fast forward, I'm now 51. Dr. Shelia and Carola, I guess this is a question for you. I guess I'm asking questions. And this will lead into our tips and strategies. When somebody like me comes to you and with this situation, what are the things that you're asking them? What are the things that you're recommending for them or me?
Carola,
Dr. Shelia, would you start?
I was going to let you take that first, because her question did not have any physical outside of hot flashes. However, I know nutrition can really impact how you feel, how your symptoms, how you feel about your symptoms, and then how your symptoms affect you. So that's why I was going to let you go first.
Okay, thank you. I think with literally with all my clients, it's not only in terms of women and menopause. All my clients, I ask first to write me a food diary, simply because this is for many people actually a really good exercise to realize what they're eating, when they're eating, even why they're eating, and if I then see certain patterns, this could be in terms of macro and micronutrients, so either proteins, carbohydrates, fats, but also I can see that, I don't know, if somebody is a vegetarian or a vegan, they may lack certain nutrients in their diet. And especially when we're looking at the nutrition aspect, we know that a slightly modified Mediterranean diet is the best to help with the symptoms in terms of the menopause. But we can take this actually a step further. I think we have discussed that before, but it might be interesting for the women who are on this call. The so-called phytoestrogens, that's foods that affect a person, this is a man as well as a woman, in the same way estrogen is produced in the body. So there is a whole list of foods that contains those so-called phytoestrogens. So as an example, we're looking at cruciferous vegetables. That's cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, kale, all these sorts of things. We're looking at whole grains. The fiber really makes a difference. We're looking at berries and melon. They are high in phytoestrogen. A whole range of nuts and seeds, sesame, flax seeds, sunflower, almonds, walnuts, for example, really high in phytoestrogens. And there's loads more. So that is only one piece of the puzzle. Yes, of course, we need to look into calcium to make sure that we're protecting our bones, which is of massive importance. We're looking at all the B vitamins that support the brain, coming back to the Alzheimer problem and those sorts of things. So that's but a food diary in the first instance really helps me nailing down, okay, there is something lacking in your diet because you simply don't like nuts. We need to find other sources of magnesium in your diet, of phytoestrogens in your diet, and making sure that you get enough of them.
I see. And it's funny because all of the foods that you mention are foods that I eat on a regular basis, except one thing. And I have them in my house, but I never think, I rarely think to use them. I have flax seeds, I have sunflower seeds, I have chia seeds. For whatever reason, that's one piece of the puzzle that I personally have struggled to include. And
oh, really?
And it's so simple, but I think because there's so many pieces to the puzzle, as you're saying. LuAnn,
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. So is it always the case that women need more phytoestrogens, or is it sometimes there's too much? I don't understand.
No, we're generally lacking them. So the phytoestrogens play a small role in basically replacing the natural estrogen, which is falling off a cliff once we're going through menopause. So the list of phytoestrogens, if you have a chance to include them in your daily diet, they can have a positive impact on the physical side effects, like the hot flushes, the mood swings, the sleep problems, all of that. So more of them, the more the better.
The more the better. Dr. Shelia, I'm gonna have you put your add your input, and then I have a question from Lori.
Okay. So if a client came to me and said, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not on mute. I go on mute back and forth." If a client came to me and said, "I'm having hot flashes, what can I do?" So I would get a lot more information. Because generally, yes, hot flashes is the main thing. That is the thing that is most obvious for us. But a lot of times there's other just little things that are going on. For me, the main thing, and I think the thing that helps women so much is to actually explain to them what is going on in their bodies. What could possibly, because everybody does not have every symptom. Hot flashes is one of the major symptoms. I think it's like 80% of women do experience them at some time, and some are less severe than others. Some will have them in, for a few months and they're gone. So we're all so different. But a lot of times, once you explain, because there's fear in not knowing, once you explain what is going on and what that it is not something that is number one, the end of the world, not something that is going to change your life so drastically that you cannot function, not that this is going to just continue to get worse. See, these are the fears that people have. And that's what stops them from embracing. Because for me, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I made it to menopause, hallelujah. Now let me just keep going. Yeah. There are many people that don't make it there. So you have to look at it too as a more of gratitude. And then I also work with people with things like breathing. Breathing makes a big difference in not so much anxiety, but your anxiousness on what's going on. It can also even help you with your hot flashes. And there are a lot of interventions for what is bothering you at that particular moment. And then I also say, you have to stay active. You have to stay active. You have to do some type of exercise, and you have to do some type of mind-body component in that also. And strength training. Don't get me started on the exercise situation, but so yeah.
I know how
you know how I am about the exercise, but
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you do have to stay active, because that actually will help you quite a bit with your symptoms also.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna ask this question from Lori, and then we'll get to the next question. So Lori says she's been in menopause for 6 years, so postmenopausal. Within the last 6 months, her hot flashes and disruptive sleep have come back. Is it menopause related? Thoughts on that?
I feel it is menopause related. You still have hormones. They still do fluctuate. Hot flashes, when your hot flashes stop, or if, because some people, unfortunately, they don't, but when your hot flashes stop, that does not mean that you can never get them again. There are women in their 80s that on occasion they'll get hot flashes.
I didn't know that.
It doesn't mean once you stop having them, you'll never have them again. It doesn't. And there are certain things, besides the hormones, it's okay, how stressed you are, how busy you are, what is your cortisol? There's a lot of different aspects that we pull in, because we're looking at it as just, okay, well, estrogen is dwindling, your estrogen, progesterone, there's a lot of them, but that's dwindling, so that's going to cause everything. Well, no. Your body is
and exercise levels.
And exercise. Yeah.
I know the two of you could have a great conversation.
I know, right. Yeah. But your body is a system. So certain things that can happen that go off kilter or not in homeostasis can affect then how the rest of your body reacts. I'll just say that. But yeah, so it's not abnormal, Lori. And yeah, so but you can look and see if there's anything different in your life that is mitigating this. If you're eating differently, if you're stressed out about something, there's just a lot of factors. Or this could just be your normal ebb and wane, and it'll go away again.
Thank you.
We have this, or I guess each of us have our own natural ebb and flow. Because obviously, I mean, like I said earlier, we all experience menopause, but we all experience it differently. And I love the idea that mindset is a big part of that. And I'm going to pull LuAnn in to talk a little bit about the mindset piece when it comes to this transition area. You had mentioned, LuAnn, that you went through menopause at a young age. I started experiencing perimenopausal symptoms, though I was never told that. I only understood that a couple of years ago. No one ever said perimenopause to me. I didn't know that. I mean, I've heard the word before, but no one ever actually explained it. So you and I probably during the same time period were going through things, which is one of the things, we have these conversations. So we're not going through these things alone, because I know I felt alone, and I'm sure you did as well. And so had we known that, we could have been alone together.
Right. So true. And I think that's one of the best things that we women can do that we often do very poorly is ask for help. Ask questions, talk to your friends, talk to the women in your life. Hey, this is what's going on for me. Is this normal? Am I crazy? What's happening here? And it's okay. We're all going to go through it at some point in our lives. And so it's not something that has to be hidden, but we often try and do it all by ourselves. That's when I started our Renew Women's Retreat that you're a part of, Denise, is I got to a point in my business life where I'm like, I can't do this anymore by myself. I know all these amazing women in our community, so let's bring them together. Each and every one of them has a different gift to share in the world, and let's bring us all together and talk about that and share our challenges somebody else might have the solution for, right? Or a tool to use for that. So be good at asking for help and reaching out to other women for support. It is a gift. We love to support each other and we love to share our gifts. So asking someone to help you with any part of this, whether it's a doctor or a coach, is okay. It's okay. Doesn't make us any weaker. We are very, very strong human beings, the women in the world. So ask for help. And know that, again, this is really important, a conscious knowledge that you can recreate yourself. Yes, things are going to be different potentially. Now I can't run a 5K anymore, but what can I do? Zumba classes? What can I do to get the exercise I was getting in a different way before and still get it now? My sister retired a couple of years ago, and she now goes to an exercise boot camp every morning at 6 a.m., to keep herself active, which is awesome. But she never had the opportunity to do that before because she was a school teacher and she was on her way to school by that time of the day, right? So it's a recreation and a choice to recreate what I can do now.
I like that. It's very true. I have a friend who's in her 60s, and she's a hoot because she's that person I always say, like, I want to be like you when I grow up. And she always laughs at me. She's like, you're not really that far behind. I'm like, yeah, I know. But, I've known her long enough and followed her kind of her life journey where, like you just said, she used to run. She used to run half marathons, which I've done in the past, but she ran half marathons. She did boot camps. And now, as she's gotten older, she says, she doesn't have that type of energy or the stamina. She could still do some running, but she's found more yoga and Pilates to really be her new thing. And she's not that she doesn't miss the other things, and she can add a little bit here and there. But, as she's, kind of transitioned in her life, that part's transition too. And she says, it fits me. It fits who I am today.
And that's great. And I think yoga is a really good one, right? It's not high cardio, and yet it gets you all the physical stretching. And it's about mindset, meditation, and concentration on the body and the breathing. And so yoga is a great one to turn to.
Thoughts from our experts?
They also have it at all kinds of different levels, right?
I'm still at like level 1. I've been trying for years. I can't get beyond level 1. I mean, okay. I don't know what it is, My warrior 1 doesn't look like everybody else's warrior 1, but it's my warrior 1.
That's okay. Hey, I want to read what Lauren wrote in the chat. She said, yes, speak out loud. Someone will answer you. That's fantastic, Lauren. Thanks for adding that.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions right now from our audience before we move on? Everybody's like, nobody's, we're all, hey, we're all on camera. Where is it?
Leah looks like she's open up for she took her mute off. Leah, what's up?
Well, hey, ladies.
Hi, Leah.
Hello, ladies. It's been a while. I finally have had the time to join you, so thank you. I'm just loving this whole conversation. I don't have my screen on because I just just got done with the massage, so you don't want to look at me. But at any rate, I've been going through quite a bit of menopause too, and I didn't even know that that's what this was about. I just jumped on, and it's very interesting. What I have found, I guess, that I've been going through a little bit is it was really terrible for like maybe a month or so, and then I started putting in walks. I just made myself get up early and go for that, and like 5-mile walk, and I went from 1 mile, 2 mile on up, and then just keeping hydrated. And gosh, I just don't even get them anymore, you guys. I mean, I'm 56 as of last Saturday, so I was 55 when all this was happening, but still, what I have found is just, man, getting good water and exercise, that's helped me. And I don't know how many other women have, that's helped, but it's been a godsend in that department. So that was it. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. You bring up two really valid points. One, again, exercise, movement, getting out in nature, and then hydration. I know, Carola, that's something that you and I have talked about in the past is, are people getting, drinking water? Are they drinking the right amount of water? Are they, what else? Because I love when people, I don't like the taste of water. And I always think, well, what does water actually taste like? So thank you, Lee. You bring three great points. I will open up to the panel for some additional insight, some tips, some strategies that we can take from today on, whether we're starting that transition into menopause, whether we're, in the middle of it or, or postmenopausal. I think many of the things that we can do today can positively affect someone in each one of those phases.
Denise, I had a quick question before we go on.
Sure.
And I think it was Carola who mentioned magnesium. Is magnesium a suggested supplement at this age? Stage?
Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be, but well, if I tell you that magnesium is my favorite nutrient, is that sad that I have a favorite nutrient?
It means you like what you do.
Magnesium is absolutely amazing because it's involved in over 300 processes in the body. For me, and probably for you and for your work, the most amazing thing, LuAnn, about magnesium is that it is relaxing. So it relaxes muscles. We know that people who are suffering from cramps, they've always been told to take magnesium in the evening before they go to sleep. Athletes should take magnesium, but it also helps your heart and it helps your brain. And that brings me again to the whole Alzheimer's thing. You know that I always find a way to brain health.
No, that's great. I mean, I think it's one of the most important pieces that is untapped in the health and wellness world. And I'm so glad that that's something that you really talk about.
Yeah. And the main thing about magnesium is because it's mainly in nuts. And there are many people who either have a nut allergy, they don't like nuts. But looking at the world at the moment, nuts are expensive. So maybe you don't get enough magnesium in your diet. I've just seen in the chat, no one gets enough. Yeah, it's very common that you're not having enough magnesium in your diet. So generally, if you eat nuts, and if you're happy to do that, I'm a massive fan of foods, because our bodies are made to extract nutrients from foods together in this beautiful package of fiber and nutrients and carbohydrates and protein and everything else. Not necessarily from a supplement. If you don't want to, or you can't eat nuts, then obviously a supplement might be helpful. But I think it's just great to have magnesium in your diet, because it helps you sleep. On the other hand, it helps creating more balanced energy levels, and this is what we're all after at the end of the day. And it helps your brain. Have I mentioned that?
Helps your brain. Has she mentioned that? I love it. Physically, when we think of, I think when often we think of menopause, we think of those physical symptoms. We're not thinking about what's going on in here. And that's one mindset. And as you mentioned, Carola, like all of the things that could happen with Alzheimer's and women, the percentage of women. And I had a family friend whose grandmother who went through Alzheimer's, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see somebody go through that. And if we can do something today to minimize the chances of us getting Alzheimer's, this is why we have these conversations. So thank you very much. Dr. Shelia, do you have something? Speaking of magnesium.
I was going to say, yes. Could you, could you refresh me on the question? Because
no. Yes, the question was some tips or strategy, a tip or strategy that you have for somebody, starting, from today. What can I do today? What is one thing that we can, that I can do, or we can do? Whether we're in, perimenopause, in the middle of dealing with it, or postmenopausal.
So one of the first things would be to realize that the peri or premenopause time could be up to 10 years before menopause. Okay. So in menopause, 52, 54, somewhere in there. So 10 years before that, start to listen to your body, because many women in their 40s, they start pushing themselves to do things that they have done in their 30s and cannot do it, become frustrated, become just very disappointed, etc. And I think if you start to realize that your body is already going through the transition at this time, it will help you to understand and really to adjust without being angry that you have to be more accepting that these things will naturally occur. It's not everybody. It's not everybody, but just listen to your body through this period, say from your early 40s on. And the other thing I would like to say is, because many of us will go to our GYN, even our regular doctor, and they will dismiss our symptoms. And they do that with great regularity. And if you need to be persistent. I say this about menopause, but I also say it about everything else that has to do with something medical, because it's not just women, it's in general that physicians will dismiss symptoms if they don't fit into a category in the book. And menopause symptoms don't fit into a category in the book because they can be all over the place. They can be all over. And I'll tell you, for me, I have a burning tongue. It burns all the time. So it's been burning, this might be year, I don't know, 7, 5. And sometimes it'll burn a lot, depends. And then sometimes it'll just be like, you don't even notice it, whatever. But when I first said to the doctor, I have a burning tongue, they just looked at me like, I don't even know what to tell you.
What does that mean?
That's one of the obscure menopausal symptoms.
And what do you mean by that? How does it feel?
Like it's burning.
Like when you've had like hot pepper, kind of that kind of.
Like you ate something that, not scorching, not like if you ate hot pizza or anything like that, but that it, like it's just, light burn,
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
If-
So I had
if
to
I
go,
may.
and so just know that there are odd symptoms.
Suzanne
That
just put in the text, she has that too. She says it
Yes.
feels dry and hot.
but you
Interesting.
can't, so when you bring that up, they're like, I don't even know what to say. That's something that you have to either go to a specialist or you have to do a lot of research. And saying all this to say that if you do have a symptom that is not, and not everything is menopause, okay?
Right.
So you got to remember that too. Not everything is menopause. There are other things that can go on in your body that you really need to be aware of. However, do your research. Pay attention to your body and really don't let things go for long periods of time without addressing it. Some
So,
things can change, some things cannot.
so Sheila, would you agree if I said, speaking to the younger women of the world, they should always listen to their body. They should know their body so that when these things start happening, they know the difference. They know this isn't what it was before. This is not normal for me, or this could be menopause for me, or what have you, right? Like, I think that's an encouragement that all young women, I have a friend who is a natural family planning pharmacist, and actually she's on our group too, isn't she, Denise? And Emily encourages women to really understand their menstrual cycle from the very beginning, right? And how their body is reacting to that process within their body. And I think that's really powerful message for younger women, to really be in tune to their body and know it.
Yeah, and younger women there's been a big push for them to really either track or be aware of their menstrual cycle and the different symptoms that they have before, after, even in the middle. There has been a lot of awareness about that, and thankfully a lot of women are catching on to that, younger women. But at that time also, if we can all think back, you have a lot of odd symptoms into. Seriously, you really do.
Yes.
So you just have to, if you start thinking back,
Yeah.
we forget because now it's a little bit more, a lot more things going on.
I seem to get, I've just had all these weird symptoms my whole life. It's just changed as time
Right.
has gone on.
Right. Yeah. So I like to talk about just the continuum of just life in general, just to make sure that you, if anything is off, investigate it and kind of don't let it go, because that's why so many people wind up with chronic issues, or the woulda, shoulda, I waited too late to get help, and it's too late because something is wrong. You tell someone something's wrong, they either dismiss it or don't really know what to do, because sometimes everybody doesn't know what to do. It's searching.
Yeah, it's really another emphasis, because we really, in today's world, have to advocate for ourselves.
Yes.
And have to be confident in knowing our body to advocate for ourselves that this is not right for me. So please, we got to figure out what's the underlying problem. Leah had a comment to make earlier that she didn't get a word in. Leah, did you want to say something?
I was just kind of being Leah here on the other end when she said I have a hot tongue, and I'm like, I have that sometimes too, and people don't like what comes off my tongue. That was just a joke.
That's different, Leah.
That's different, Leah.
Okay, I'm trying to catch on. I'm trying to follow here as a good student.
Although that could speak to wavering emotions, right?
Yes.
That we let go on people sometimes verbally. Indeed, from the emotional imbalance, if you will. So one of the tips I wanted to add is truly meditation. and quiet self introspective time, which I find, if I ask questions during that time of what I might be struggling with in my mind, I tend to get answers, or at least a sense of peace from them that I've let it go. I often talk to people about meditation because they say, I can't meditate. And the reality is, meditation, the myth of it is that your mind's going to be completely silent. It's not. And so what I teach people when I talk about meditation is that when those anxious thoughts, challenges, problems, concerns come into your mind during meditation, acknowledge it as you're releasing the stress around that situation. And so I literally can say to myself, oh, good, we're letting go of that one. And so it helps to balance out that emotional and fear and all of that. So a meditation practice is a great tip as well.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, LuAnn. I have started meditating a few years ago, and I finally got my head around it, because I learned that the hard way, because I can't do this. This is all crap. But it's really nice. Can I please add one more? When we said earlier, listen to your body, see what's happening and how you're reacting to it. We have to understand that we're all different. I mean, if we're looking around the room, I would say that each of us probably have different symptoms, different different stages. And I think that there's one more I'd like to point out is if you listen to your body, and you will realize what your triggers are. This could be stress related, like Dr. Shelia earlier said. It could be that a glass of white wine will lead to a hot flush, pretty much bang, immediately. It could not be. For me, it's coffee. And it's one of those where I said earlier, sometimes I'll do it deliberately because I just absolutely love my morning coffee. And okay, fine, I know 3 sips of coffee, hot flush. All right then, okay. But this is that one which I accept because I like my coffee. So it's about what works for you. And when you notice that a glass of white wine sets you off, okay, fine, add white wine to the list. Either accept it or leave it. I would leave it. It's not great. Anyway.
Right.
Don't try the red.
But this is what I wanted to say though, because I don't, this is something similar to what I tell people in my bladder leaks, because, there are foods that upset your bladder, or you'll just be, either having frequency or have an accident. But it takes people a while, especially if it's something that they really love, to be able to accept. A lot of people cannot go cold turkey on, and they don't really want to feel this is just another thing I have to give up in my life. So what I actually will say is, okay, if you know this is going to happen, because now you know your body, this is going to happen. If you can accept that on occasion, please not every day, but if you can accept on occasion that this is going to happen to you, and I always use bladder leaks. If you know that you're going to drink coffee and just run to the bathroom 5 times in the next hour and a half, I will do it on the weekends when you're going to be by your bathroom and not at work. Pick and choose. Pick and choose what you can and cannot absolutely do. Don't deprive yourself of everything. This is just me, because I get you do get pushback, especially for people who have a lot of symptoms, who have to really do a lot of adjustment in order to feel better. Because some people you have to really change that diet and get rid of a lot of stuff. And do a lot of activity. It's just a whole lifestyle change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this brings me back to my work, and it's about conscious choice.
Yes.
Conscious choice. Don't try and bury it. Understand it and make a conscious choice. And then you'll feel better, even if I'm accepting that, yes, I'm going to drink coffee and have a hot flash. That's okay. I made the conscious choice. It's not happening to me. It's happening with me, and in some cases even for me, right? And so a lot of the work we do in the passion test is about conscious choice instead of letting the world push you around like a pinball machine. And again, that quiet time of meditation helps you to set those intentions of what conscious choices you're going to make today. So I wanted to offer, before we run out of time, Denise, I do a free 30-minute consultation. It's on my website at LuAnnB.com. If anyone who's listening wants to chat more about mindset and following their passions, I would love to meet up with you. And I sure hope Sheila and Carola have something similar, because I'd like to connect with them myself.
Yep. So go at it, ladies. Carola?
Absolutely, LuAnn. It would be an absolute pleasure to talk more. I love to talk about meditation with you. I'm sure I will learn something about mindset. My website is carolabecker.com. So it's first name, last name.com. And you can just simply click on the arrange a call, and there is a free consultation. And of course, I'm more than happy to do that, to offer that to anybody in the group and to anybody who is watching this recording.
Certainly. And in the September-October magazine, Carola's program, Embrace Menopause, is listed in there. So you can also click that in the online magazine, Healthy Living, Happy Life. And Dr. Sheila.
Thank you.
Yes, my website is thepelviccoach.com. If you are interested in a free class on bladder leaks, you can go to thepelviccoach.com/free. If you are interested in working with me, you can go to thepelviccoach.com/apply. And I also do free consultations. You can find that on my website. And that is my signature program right now, because my mission at this time is to stop these pesky bladder leaks that seem at epidemic proportions. So I am working on that with women. So that is my main program.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for being here, for sharing your wisdom. Thank you to those of you who are here also live, and to those who are listening to the replay. I do want to mention before we leave that Meaningful Conversations is something we do every month. It's the second Tuesday of the month. So our next event will be on Tuesday, October the 11th. And we're going to be talking about physical resilience. Resilience has been our overarching theme for the year. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about the physical application there. So October 11th at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll make sure that we have all of the speakers' contact information and ways to get in touch with them about their programs in the show notes, and also the link to register for next month's program. So again, thank you so much for participating in Meaningful Conversations. I will make sure that each one of you gets a copy of the YouTube link. Share it with your audience, share it with somebody who you know needs to hear our meaningful conversations about aging, transition, and menopause. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.